Once again, I believe most of us found the event through meetup.com/SaigonRB, and we will continue create new event on this same website. And we also have a Facebook page, even though it's not really active, but we mostly inform about upcoming event. Beside the meetup.com website, but we also post the update on this Facebook page. Regarding our schedule for today, quickly after this short introduction, we will have a sharing from Sang regarding Grafana Basic for load testing. I think this is a common topic that many people will be interested in. That when you build an application and before launching it to production, you want to know the capability of the application, how much request it can handle, and what is the design infrastructure you need to prepare for running your application. Then we will have a very insightful sharing from Julia about boosting English through collaboration. This is the second time she's joined us, and so really appreciate that. And after that, we will have a time for food and drink, so we can connect and discussing the other topic outside. Or even if you have some question for the presenter, we can deep dive more into that during this session. So allow me to hand over to Sang so he can share about this Grafana Basic.
Yeah, first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today. Today we're going to discuss about Grafana Basic. We use it for load testing for awareness of your infrastructure. So in our case, we did use Grafana Basic to test our application in some aspect like checking if our application can handle at the typical load. And also we can measuring the time it usually takes to recover the app after successive load, or also checking the maximum tolerable traffic that our application can handle before failure. Yeah, so we can have the overview about our application capabilities, limits, and also the resilience. So how about what is Grafana Basic? From their introduction, Grafana Basic is an open source to test the reliability and also performance of our application, so we can identify the performance issue and problem earlier. Here are the basic use cases we can consider. As you can see on the screen, there are a lot of strategy of load testing and also browser testing. They offer a lot of browser APIs, so we can utilize it to interact with the system, especially in browser-based performance tests. So we can gather the metric there and also pinpoint any issue specifically related to how our application behaves inside the browser. And I think it's not enough that we should mix it up with all the kind of testing to have the holistic view of our application performance. And also chaos and resilient testing. Yeah, we have chaos here, and our application will definitely suffer from the chaotic traffic. So yeah, we need to make some changes related to our application goal or either the infrastructure. So with K6, we can simulate the traffic pattern, the same that we faced before, to our new application to test if it can handle well in that case. And performance and synthetic monitoring. Think of it as your 24/7 website health check. So we can schedule tests to frequently run with the minimal load, just to continually validating our website availability. Yeah, but it's a lot, so we won't cover all of this use of those use cases today, as well as comparing with other testing tools. So we will focus only with load testing, and specifically with 4 strategy listing on the script. And before we moving on to the main topic, we should be clear on the basic terminology, so it won't make you like confused later. So we have here VUs means visual user. Think of it as simulated user generating the traffic to our application, and more VUs mean more simulated traffic. And we should consider running it on our local machine or KSIC cloud later. And a single complete execution of main test function by a visual user is called an iteration. Yeah, and keep in mind that it's the complete execution. So I will explain a bit later. Yeah, and to make our test script more efficient, we should understand the life cycle of K6, so we can prevent the duplicating of code or the resource waste. A typical one goes through several stages. The first one is initialization, where we can define our configuration and also resources. And in setup, we will prepare the data that can be used later in later stages like execution and TDAO. And in execution stage, we will run the actual test strategies. And TDAO, we just clean up what have been trained in our test. Yeah, this one is a visualized version, and this also the actual code. We have 4 stages here: init code, setup, and VU code and TDAO. And for the function setup and the function TDAO, those are optional, so we can eliminate them to keep our test script simple. Deep dive into initialization stage. So a lot of context we can consider when using this stage are like importing the function or module either from third parties or from K6. And moreover, we can load the data from our local file system, or we must follow the rule from K6. It's 4 constant options. This one is to define the testing strategy we use with K6, or either we can define the global variables like custom chain or my custom function for prevent duplicating code, and we can use it in later functions. And this one is setup part. It's an optional one, but in our case, we use it to retrieve the authentication token and also prepare the initial data that we can reuse later in the default function or the TL function. And at the return statement, we return an object, and it will automatically become the argument for the default function and the TL function. And in execution, as aforementioned, we can access the data from the setup function by using data our token. And we can also use the global variable users as a share array. And one special variable here we can use it to identify which VU is running, and we can have its serial number. Okay, and by default, when we call a request inside the execution, it will check the status code of the request to determine if it's a successful or a failure. But in this case, we can check with the status field from response to mark it successful. And moreover, we can have some custom statistics with module from K6. And in T-Route stage, we usually clean up the test environment, or in our use case, we can send some webhook to notify if the test is done. Yeah, and that's it for the test lifecycle of K6. Yeah, we did talk about purpose and examples, and one noticeable column here will be the call column. So keep in mind that in this stage, with the cell array that we talked before, it will be called once per VU. But for the setup and the T-Route functions, it will be called once per test. So it just runs only once, and every VU just reuse it, don't need to run again. And VU code here is called once per iteration. That means when we finish running the VU code one time, that means we have completed one iteration. Does anyone have any question about this section? Yeah,
why the ones in teardown have a double asterisk?
Yeah, I did take a look at it and also curious about that. It's just a note about T-Route function that if any issue or error happen with your code before the T-Route function, you need to catch it and handle the error by yourself, or either if you try the issue, it cannot reach the T-Route function.
I'm missing kind of a ramp up phase or something like that.
For the ramp up?
Yeah, ramp up.
Yeah, I will talk about it later. Yeah. Any other questions? If it's good, we can move to the next part. Okay, we're gonna discuss about load test time. As we mentioned, we have 4 types of load tests mentioned today. The first one will be average load test, and its for constant option is the way we connect with cases to define the testing strategy. And I take stages from the option to visualize how to achieve the traffic as shown in the image below. And here we can define the stages with as an array. So we will have 3 stages: ramp up, sustain, and ramp down. For the duration, here is the duration it takes to reach the target, and the target here we can think of it like the number of views, the number of visual users, or the number of iterations. To easier to understand, we can assume it's like 150 requests per second. Yeah. So let's say our application has the average throughput at 150 requests per second. So started with 0 target. We will have 5 minutes as shown in the chart to get 150 targets within 5 minutes, and then we sustain it for around 30 minutes, and then we run out to 0. And when do we need to run this kind of test? We used to run it to check our application can perform well in the typical load with the average traffic, and also identify any performance issue or any just typo or any any issue from the application after we making the change to either our code base or the infrastructure. Yeah, and this question, when I was implementing this kind of test, I had this question in mind. So how can we know the specific number of users or the typical load of our application? Just anyone have any insight about that? If one day you need to test our application at the average rate, how can we identify that number?
An existing application or a planned application? So the current numbers get from your metrics.
Okay.
You want to,
Yeah, actually, we can base on that, and also in the non-functional requirement we discussed with client, so we can set at a typical load for our application. In our case, we use the expected number from the client as a typical load, so we can scale our application based on that. Okay.
It means that for an
it usually means you're 10 times over the real load you use this number, so I think just to be sure.
Yeah. So with stress testing, yeah, it can use to assess our application, how it performs in case of heavier loss than average. So everything remains the same, but only the target we increase the number from 150 to 200. That means the above average. So in this case, we should expect that the performance is worse compared to the average load. Yeah, this case makes sense because in some cases, normal cases, like a banking application, in the payday, they need to handle more traffic than usual. Or the delivery application, in the rush hour, they need to handle more. And with shock testing, yeah, everything still keep the same as average load test, but the duration has been changed from 30 minutes to 8 hours. Shock testing is also another variation of average load test. Yeah, this one we can use to check if our application about this availability, especially focus on the extended periods. So we should combine this test with monitoring our back-end utilization to have a clear view of our resources. If some issue like memory leak, we can identify it easily. And the last one is by testing. This one is more special than the others. We have two stages here, or usually it can have the substantially but very brief, because as you can notice here, we have the duration. It's very short compared to other kind of tests, and the target here is unrealistic compared to our average, just 150. Yeah, so this one we can use to simulate like some special event like ticket sales or seasonal sale like Black Friday. So we can use it to test about our if our application able to scale properly with this high traffic. Yeah. And in this scenario, errors are common. And yes, wrap up this session, we have some consideration. So before we run all the kind of tests, we should run average load test first to test our typical load. And be cautious with when testing with auto-scaling system, especially with, as you can see in the chart, we have spy test, breakpoint test, and soap test. It can cause some cost in scaling. Yes, all the kind of tests can cause the worst performance compared to the average, which is expected from us. And also we should to monitor the backend resources to see how our application react to the traffic. Yeah, and that's it for the load test time. We're gonna discuss about basic execution and hands-on demo. So we keep talking about just only one type of basic executor here. And executor is a way that how basic define the number of visual users and iterations. So with the example we talked earlier, I used this executor ramping views with many stages, but they also provide some executor by number of iterations. With this kind of executor, we will define the number of iterations we expect for. Like we want to test our application to have around 200 iterations, or inside the iteration, we will define one request per iteration. So transfer from 200 requests per second, we have 200 iterations per second. So we can define the duration for the test and also the number of iterations. And here we can do the same with number of views. We will define the number of views the concurrent user that make the request to our application, and also define the duration. So it will try to make as much iteration as possible in that duration. And the difference from constant views with the ramping views is that we can define the stages. So it can ramp up and ramp down as we define. Here, this one, we have the stages for the ramping VU. It will start with 0 VUs and then increase to 10 and ramp down to 0. And by the iteration rate, we can define the iteration per time unit. Let's say we want to test our application to have 40 requests per minute. So we can specify the number of iteration. Here we have the rate option. We can define the number of iteration per unit, time unit, and we can set the time units like 1 second or 1 minute, and they will calculate and also schedule the VU and the iteration properly. Yeah, and I want to show you about the response when we run the basic test. For example, we have the say iteration here. We will have 200 iteration and 10 VUs. So it will not accurate that one VU will run 10 iterations, but it will share between VU. So it's not evenly distributed between VUs. So some VU can make like 12 iterations, but some just make around 8. Yeah, and to run it, we just have the file test here. In this case, I skip the setup function and the TL function. We have the init stage and only the default function. To run it, we use ksig command line with ksig run and then test file. Yeah, it's running. And when it finishes, it will show the table of the statistics. We will have the number of requests, number of iteration. Yeah, as we specify that we need to run 200 iteration. And we have the result of every time for the response. Also the min, the max, 90 percentile. Yeah. And we have a pref like 10 VU that run 200 share iteration. And what is the difference between when we run it locally and when we run with ksig cloud? Yeah, I think everyone will aware of it. Like if we run it locally, all the traffic that will come from my machine. But when I run with ksig cloud, we can simulate the traffic from everywhere, and we can define in the dashboard from ksig. And I will try to run this one with ksig cloud. I chose this one for testing with ksig cloud because we can define the stages here, and it will show us on the graph on ksig cloud. And to run with ksig cloud, we have ksig cloud run defining. Yeah, it's kind of the same when running locally. This one will take more than 9 minutes to finish, but I did run it with cloud, so I will show you the result. Sorry. This one is running, and this one is the previous time I tested with ksig cloud. So let me show you. Yeah, we have there. So we can have. Let's take a look about the code first. We will start with 300 iteration with time unit is 1 minute. So the request rate is about 5 requests per second. As you can see here, at the start, it will run around 5 requests per second. And then we have the stage to increase it to 600 in 2 minutes. Yeah, this period. So it gradually reach 10 requests per second within 2 minutes. And we will sustain 6 iteration during 600 iteration in 4 minutes. Yeah, this one represents exactly what we define. And then the TL stage. Yeah, so on ksig cloud, we can see the VU, the request rate, the response time, and also the failure rate. And the gray line behind the chart is the number of VUs, so it will automatically calculate it by ksig but not us.
I don't understand why we need to pre-allocate 50 view. What does pre-allocate mean?
I didn't use this this option before, but for my guests, they will like try to initiate 50-minute video first, instead of when we need, and it will start instantly. It's like always ready to run, because it still takes time to run the initialization stage for video.
Right? We only use so much view. Like in the chart, we only use maximum 5 views.
Yes.
So the rest gonna be like idle, I guess.
I'm not sure about this option. Maybe we should check later. This one now. Okay, we
I don't know
can.
if they try to reuse the same view or try to rotate around it. As you can see, you only use 5 out of the total of 15. Right? So yeah, I wonder if they
Yeah, I
try
think
to cycle between them.
for my in my opinion, it will try to review the video. Like if it finishes an iteration, it will try to review that video to a new iteration with the same video. But if it needs more, it will try to use the pre-allocate video. Yeah, but yeah, for the real question, the real answer, I will check the documentation later.
What is the green blue line?
Blue or hot
Yeah.
pink?
I'm not sure which is blue or not.
This one?
Yeah,
The-
oh, the small.
Yeah, the response time. So the test time from physics. Yeah, where we can even write some log to check. It will show here if we write some log with console, and also we can see the script that we use to test. Yeah, and from this one, we actually can set the schedule. So K6 will run it, follow our schedule. Yeah, it's helpful. And we also can export the testing result to PDF or PNG.
In your opinion, when should we use iteration-based or view-based? As I understand, you can specify the test case, like I want this specific amount of view, or I want this specific amount of iteration, and you have to choose either of those two, right?
Okay.
So, in which case you should use which? I guess that's my
For videos, it's more about the concurrent traffic. So if we set a specific number of video, so let's say we want to test our system with 10 videos. So it will try to keep the request rate is about 10 requests per second.
And requests in parallel, right? So
yes,
if it's
in
only
parallel.
100 milliseconds, you will have probably 100 requests per second.
Yes. With requests per second, it also consider about the time it takes for the test, like the response time. So it makes more sense with 10 requests in parallel.
Yeah, so view is the cap for concurrency.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you control concurrency.
Yes.
Then iteration is more like how you control like
The number. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
from the system local perspective, it's a completely different scenario. If you can have 1,000 requests from one person, which the system probably can well handle, but if you have 1,000 requests from 1,000 persons, it's a completely different load scenario for most technologies. It's really important to think about.
So we should to consider the executor here based on the requirement. If it's more about iteration or the reuse, the control and request. Yeah, and that's it for my presentation today. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Sam, for the sharing. I think, should I?
Should we have server computer or use this one?
You will use this one or you will use that?
Yeah, we can go back to the first slide.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, the previous one. No spoilers.
You know, cái trên này sao mà bảo full screen trên
Okay. Yep. All right. So.
Can you give him 1 second so he can double check it and so we can full screen the slide?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, cool. All right. Chào buổi tối mọi người. Tôi là Julia, tôi đến từ Nhã, tôi đang ngồi Nhã. And I have lived in Ho Chi Minh for 4 months and now a part of Antler. We have our colleague here. You can spot him by this red ribbon on his neck and late work hours. So I will be like super chill and down to earth and quick because we have all had a very long day. Thank you so much for having me at the end. And the topic is about English. This is what I have dedicated my professional life to. And English is not my first language. My first language is Russian. And it was a real game changer in my personal and professional life. So you can see that I was born in the middle of nowhere in Russia. These are pictures from my hometown. And it was a very cultural, mono-linguistic environment. Nobody in my family spoke any English. There were no foreigners around. It was difficult to connect to the world outside. And now here I am in an international team with 66 people gifted from different countries in a very high selection environment. So, and all is possible due to English. So I want to share some things that did not work for me in my own learning journey and some things that worked for me. And that's going to be like super short and super like actually obvious, you know. People are looking for very smart solutions, but everybody knows everything. Like the truth is super simple and obvious. So the first thing that did not work for me as I was learning and that made it down the line was waiting for perfection. Because my first idea was that I first need to learn all the grammar, I need to drill down the pronunciation, be super clear about the individual sounds, and only then I would be allowed to speak. But perfection never came, and waiting for it did not help me to progress faster. The second thing that did not work for me is waiting for a silver bullet solution, like listening to my teachers, waiting for someone to tell me to share with me the best methodology, what actually should I do, in what method to learn. Like, it didn't work. Nobody told me. The third thing, there will be four things. So the last, the announcement. Accepting evolution. Like, okay, am I good enough to start speaking with foreigners now? Or maybe it's still not enough. Maybe I should wait for one more level up to start speaking with native speakers. That also did not work and did not help me. And the last thing that did not help me is believing that I should sound like a queen of England before I deserve a chance to speak with people, that I should like sound very normal, like RP, received pronunciation, like a British anchor, BBC person delivering news. That also discerned me, this inner belief. So I hope that you already don't have these pre-existing beliefs, because I promise you that they hold you back. Now, the four things that worked out, that actually helped me to progress, and when I mean they helped me to progress, they actually helped me to get here and get a certificate of C2 level of proficiency, which is super cool. I have a paper. So the first habit is taking risks. Like, okay, maybe I have not drilled down this phrase yet. Maybe I haven't mastered this grammar structure yet. But I'm going to take risk and speak to people right now, before I'm ready. The second one is putting theory into action. So I have learned a new structure. For example, the more dresses I buy, the happier I get. No, not true. But the more something, the more something. So I learned this phrase, and I made a point of actually going out and using this new phrase in action. So not just learning and doing exercises, but like actually specifically using uncomfortable phrases. Because when you learn a new phrase, it feels weird. It stops feeling weird only after you have repeated it 50 times. But first, new sentence structures, new grammar patterns, new sounds. Like now I'm learning Vietnamese. It feels so weird, like all these tones, all these throat sounds. And like actually I make a point of deliberately overusing the things that feel unnatural and weird, because only this way, by overusing them, I appropriate them and I make them my own. Number 3, looking silly, because how? We are smart professional adults. We are used to commanding respect around us and looking so professional. But when you learn a new language, you are back to square one, you feel like a child. And it can be humiliating. It can be a very humble experience. But when you are okay, looking silly, not only in language learning, but in life, like actually being vulnerable, telling people that you don't know something, like being okay making mistakes, not knowing things. And when you don't feel less of a person because somebody considers silly, that's okay. You go and learn anything, not just foreign language, faster. And the fourth habit that helped me, and you can see that it's more about psychology than like actually linguistic care. So the 3 things are more like lifestyle things. And only one, the fourth one, is actually relevant to linguistics. And this fourth habit that actually per se has to do with language is learning in chunks. What the hell is chunks? Here's an example of what is not a chunk and what can be considered a chunk. Not a chunk is just a word, likely to last to occur. So guess what? When you read a text and learn a new word separately, then you don't know how to really use it in a sentence, and it doesn't help you. It just overloads your memory, but doesn't serve in speech. But when you identify chunks in text, like to last for a while, the likelihood of something occurring, doing something, when you identify the structures, you can actually start using new vocabulary in speech. Because there is already like a whole phrase, a whole preset phrase, a whole chunk that you can get out and start using. So that helps a lot to master a language. Learning in chunks, not separate words. All right, so now before we go and eat pizza, we are going to do like we are going to apply these rules right now in practice. Looking silly, taking risks, chunks, and putting theory into action. So this guy, I just Googled him for this meeting. I'm in a Ruby Tuesday meeting, and this is Yukihiro Matsumoto, a Japanese computer scientist, designer of the Ruby language, right? Is it true?
Yes.
Okay. That would be awkward if it was not true, but I took a risk. I put something on the slide that I know nothing about. So, please scan this QR code.
And then
And then-
Bitcoin wallet.
And then yeah, you can pay me money, you can donate, you can subscribe, you can support my startup, you can become first investors into my startup right now, or you can see Wikipedia article, about Yukihiro. So can you please, I will give you just 1 minute, maybe even less, just 1 minute to identify 3 phrases, 3 chunks, it's in English article, that you don't know. And I'm going to do the same. I need my phone back because I need to find this article. Oh, you already scanned for me, thank you. Following the instructions. Okay, now I will shut up and give you 30 seconds of silence and focus.
Just kidding.
Yeah, just don't read the whole, just 3 chunks, 3 English phrases that you don't know, what you find here. Like highlight, put into notes, send to yourself, 3 chunks. Okay, I have found 2 for myself. Okay, so yeah, 3 English chunks that you want to learn. You can translate if you don't know. Or maybe it's a phrase that you know, that you can translate, but it's just something about the pattern, the structure that you normally don't use. Like you don't string the pieces of the phrase together in this way. Alright, so hopefully you're done. If not, if you have identified just 1, it's better than nothing. So just let's move on. The next one is personalized. And I'm going to give you another minute of focus silence. So think about your week, about your current week or last week, and think about some things that happened or that you thought about that you can describe using these chunks. So the first step, what we did, like we actually started noticing chunks, like actually noticing something about language. So now we're going to apply it from theory to practice and making it your own, appropriating. So think about yourself. How can you use the chunks that you have selected to describe events or thoughts, ideas of your week? 1 minute of silence. You can just think or write it down in your phone. It's up to you. the good thing about having a tight deadline is that it relieves the pressure of being perfect. When you have just 1 minute, you know it cannot be perfect. But just make up some crap, make up something, just 1 minute. All right, so we are moving on to the third principle, apply. So please turn to a buddy next to you, you two together, you two together, you two together, you guys you two together. And I will demo first, and then we will share together. So I have identified 3 phrases, 3 chants, to bring about a motto, also known as, and commonly abbreviated as. And I will tell you about my week using these 3 chants. So, antler, what about a motto, do things fast. Also known as. Antler is also known as a startup accelerator, commonly abbreviated as. ES2S, my startup, is abbreviated as English student to student. So now turn to find your body. your body ran away. And tell your body about your week using the 3 chunks that you selected.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's hard to find the nothing changed or using the word right. The word is kind of it's all from the context of the way it begins. Hasn't changed in the last week because
it's still the same personality.
And how you will bring up the sentence.
For that, I intend to say the same thing because I always behave like quite a way. My behavior is
All right.
Similar to.
Okay, and now what you did is that like you actually learned together through cooperating. You did not wait for a perfect teacher to tell you what to do. You did it on your own. And the last principle that we're going to apply is to take risks. So who can raise hand and speak out loud and share the sentences that you created? Just 1 sentence. Take the risk, raise hand, and share 1 sentence that you created about your week using the chunk. Take the risk.
Here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
A lot.
So first, please give us your chunk. What chunk you're going to use?
Yeah, my chance is based on something.
Based on something. Okay, so please tell us about your week using based on something.
Yeah. Today I skipped the lunch based on
My health condition.
All right, let's cooperation.
No, I want something much more than that.
Based on workload.
Based on the term intermittent fasting.
Oh, intermittent fasting! Oh my god!
And I also inspired from my new college. College?
Yes.
College.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean this here.
Cool. All right. hear one more person taking risk.
Please.
One more person. Okay.
Because I really want to know the meaning of this word. Actually, it's not a phrase.
All right.
It's the when you roll down to the external link or the reference, it says write up.
Right up for the book.
Yeah, write up for the book.
Yeah. Oh, you went down to references.
Yes, or it math write up for the book.
Ah,
So
right
basically-
now for the book. Okay.
Yeah, so basically I don't know,
Well, can you guess?
Right up
What do
for-
you think? What do you think from the context? What could it be? Right up.
I'm thinking about a co-writer or the guest writer,
Uh-huh.
like they
Are
work
you
together on
are you a
writing
native
books.
speaker?
No,
Uh-huh.
but I worked with an American team for a few years.
Okay. Okay. Do you know right up?
I didn't get it. Which one was the write-up?
Right up of the book. It's a word in the reference.
The starting section? Or
I
was
guess
it
like
the
a
back
preface
cover?
of a book, like a small piece.
Yeah, like a summary, right?
Yeah,
Something
Yes.
like
Yes.
that, okay, okay.
So you can also have like write up of lecture notes, like a write up, something you write up fast, put together, like you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. So can you use write up speaking about your week?
All right. Are you? So by the end of
Yeah.
every
So let's support. That's learning industry collaboration, supporting each other. Yeah.
So by the end of every Friday, I need to have a write-up for an article or something.
All right. All right. All right. Cool. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was it. Like taking the responsibility for your own learning, paying attention, identifying phrases, then using it right in practice, and then taking risks to speak up. Well done. So now the startup that I'm building in Antler is for English learners, for adult English learners from intermediate to advanced levels. And it is all based on these principles that we covered today and on the principles that help me to get to the C2 level. It's about vocabulary building through chunks, and it's about collaboration and using new words in your speech every week. So you can scan this QR code to access the website, and if you get your free demo with me, I will rush you through our process, and you will see how every week you can meet a new person from anywhere in the world, learn new vocabulary and put it in practice, and then get feedback from us. And moreover, as a thank you for having me here, I have special discounts for you guys, Ruby discounts. But there is a catch to motivate you to start acting faster and taking risks faster. They are valid only if you get your first free demo within a week. So if you want to book your first meeting within a week till next Tuesday, get to it, get your Ruby discount, use this promo code, and start building your practice. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You should get it. You always seem rusty. I can give you a bit of tutor.
So we
Oh, thank you. That's so beautiful. Oh, that's the badge, right?
Chỉ là về quanh xếp bài năm cho con đánh tại đâu?
Một tuần nữa cho đủ nó.
Long cà phê trong buổi học.
My operation team involved.
It's 7, 8 ready. You're still not.
In Deutschland Geschäftsführer nur Interesse.
So
Like good, you mean like a normal?
Wie kommt es dazu?
so we like to invite all for a group picture and then we can have
Just hit the hardest
Is
one.
that over there?
Is
Yes,
that
over
what the
there.
Chinese
Begin.
Sehr gut, danke schön.